People employed by the fast food industry are among the most visible workers who earn minimum wage. Most of them do not work full-time.
A lot of them are students, either high school students or college students or technical school students. We get some people from DeVry and other places like that. But the age group is probably primarily 16 to 20, with most of them being 17 and 18.
And beginning next Tuesday, these part-time workers, like others, will be making 20 cents more an hour. This employer has raised prices to consumers the last month, an average of 6%, something that wasn't noticed very much. And part-time help here is variable, so that the employer is able to maximize his wage expense.
So much of our workforce is confined to 2 time periods during the day, which is lunch and dinner, and most of our people might only work from 2 to 4 hours a day.
But with fast food so much in demand and consumers expecting more convenience, recession talk included, the increase in minimum wage is not going to affect overall employment here. But what about the poor who work full-time at minimum wage? What does the increase mean to them?
This has great impact here in the Valley.
Walter Tilford is a vice president with the Urban League.
We found in our last month's report for December that 1/3 of the jobs that we developed for our clientele ranged in the $2.90 to $3.10. So if the minimum wage is raised to $3.10, then 1/3 of those people will have more money, more income into their pockets.
Tilford says he'd like to see the minimum wage go even higher, pointing out that the 6.8% boost isn't keeping up with the cost of living in the Valley, but it will be an incentive for more people to get a job. Whatever effects the new minimum wage will have on employment in the Valley remains to be seen. Some economists say a higher minimum wage will price some unskilled labor out of the market because employers will be tempted to invest in labor-saving machinery. But that effect is not likely here, since much of the Valley's economy is dependent on service industries, people helping other people. Sal Quijada, Cool News 10.
Fields like this number in the hundreds in Phoenix, tall, dry grass waiting for a fire. Now that summer is over, most residents are not concerned about brush fires, but the threat is still with us.
Right now we have essentially the same potential that we had in the months of April, May, and June, where we had a tremendous amount of activity. What we probably won't have this late in the year, and with the seasons the way they are, is going to be the frequency of fires.
Partly due to an end of the storm season, because many of the blazes in the city this year were lightning caused. But the department points out there are other reasons.
There isn't as much activity as far as children are concerned. A lot of them are in school right now. We have different wind conditions. The nights are a little bit longer. The humidity is a little bit higher. So we have the fire potential there, but we probably won't see the intensity that we had at that particular time.
But that doesn't mean if your house is near an open field, there's no reason for worry. Just the opposite. Now might be a good time to clean up before next year. The Phoenix Fire Department says it's been told it's in the second year of a 7-year wet cycle and that the brush fire potential will only get worse. In fact, it's predicting that the next 8 to 10 years will be serious brush fire problems. But the City Council did give them $120,000 to buy special equipment to help fight those brush fires. Many tankers used by the department were damaged this summer battling fires in remote areas. Next year, the department will have 2 new shiny off-road tankers for the hard-to-get-at places. Bud Foster, Cool News 10.
$130 million in federal funds have come into Arizona since the December 1978 floods, going to major repair projects and to small business loans. Government funds have also been paying for temporary housing for residents of Allenville, a portion of Duncan, and all of the Little Hollywood area in Safford. $5.5 million in grants has been received to help relocate flood victims, but there are 150 families that are still temporarily housed. Charles Ott, Director of Emergency Services for Arizona, says no one will be left out. 2 flood control projects have been completed since last year's floods. Last month, officials dedicated the $7.9 million Spook Hill Dam in Mesa, the first of 5 structures of the Buckhorn Mesa Watershed Flood Prevention Plan. Also completed was the $14.5 million Cave Buttes Dam north of Phoenix. It replaces the old Cave Creek Dam that was built in 1923. The Maricopa County Flood Control District has other projects underway.
We're continuing the series of projects that we had being built by the Corps of Engineers, of which Cave Buttes Dam was one. Adobe Dam on Skunk Creek, we expect to begin construction on about next June. After that, about 2 years later, we'll begin with New River Dam on New River. And then the final project in that series of projects will be the Arizona Canal Diversion Channel, beginning in 1985 and being completed in 1991.
But probably the most talked about and tragic incident of last December's floods occurred here on the Agua Fria River. There is a new Interstate 17 double bridge under construction now to replace the one that collapsed into the ravaging river, taking with it the lives of 6 people. The contractor of this project has completed about 30% of the job.
In about 3 more weeks, with the weather in his benefit, or to his benefit, we'll see the contractor up out of the riverbed so that he can proceed with the work, even though we do get some water down the river. He expects to complete the project in early May, but as I say, with good weather, he should probably even beat that schedule.
Lyon says the new I-17 bridge is designed to stand up to the 50-year flood, that is, a storm of the magnitude to be expected once every 50 years. Construction officials say it is reinforced to stand up to a flood like last year's.
This bridge has 96 piling that go down 10 foot into bedrock, and we have about $360,000 worth of rock riprap that will control the water.
So what would happen then if another flow like what happened a year ago came by?
It's my opinion that if the bottom washed out, this bridge would still be sitting there.
Now, after 12 months without a major flood, Arizonans might be forgetting about the need for more flood control measures in this state. Well, if they are, they only need be reminded of the losses that occurred 1 year ago. $135 million damage and 28 lives. Mike Arra, Cool News 10, near Black Canyon City.
Summertime is normally a very slow time of year for the Valley's resorts.
But this year, due in part to a gasoline shortage and the high cost of fuel, many Arizonans are taking their vacations in Arizona, and summer business at a number of the Valley's resorts has never been better.
We have run 90% occupancy for July and August now, halfway through August, and it seems like most of the people who are staying with us are Arizonans, Phoenix and Scottsdale, Paradise Valley, Tempe and Mesa.
Earl and Jean Rasmussen of Phoenix are among those who decided to stay close to home this year.
Due to the gas shortage and whatnot, we kind of felt this year that we'd spend some time in Arizona and we've only lived here for about 3 years and decided that we'd kind of see the state and the city and things of that sort. So
we didn't want to go out of state and not get caught without gas someplace.
It's very close and the rates are very reasonable, and also the gas situation, it's very close, and you can come out within, on a half a tank of gas or less, and go back and drive around all weekend and just have a half a tank of gas.
The Arizona Biltmore has also seen a big pickup in business this summer, due in part to a new advertising campaign aimed at attracting local people.
We've seen a substantial increase in room occupancy over the last summer. As a matter of fact, we estimate it's up about 45% over last summer, and we've had an occupancy generally of about 63% covering so far this summer.
And with the cost of gasoline going up, many resort officials are optimistic that their local business will get better and better. Peter Van Sant, Cool News 10.
The Community Protective Action Committee isn't accusing the city of doing anything wrong, but members say the city is being awfully slow about helping the people in this area. They want a commitment and a timetable, and that's what these 11 proposals are all about. At a press conference this afternoon, the committee said it wants the city council to earmark in writing almost $41 million in bonds for airport relocation. They say the money passed in the May 22nd bond election, although part of the relocation project could be used for other things, unless there's an early commitment. The committee also wants the city to put a tax on air passengers at Sky Harbor to provide more money and to speed the relocation project along. And they want the residents to have a say in what happens to the area. The rest of the plan calls for a timetable and schedule for completion of the relocation. Some of the people that attended today's press conference didn't seem to understand everything that was going on, but they do understand what's happening to them. The woman that lives in this house, for example, says she's trapped by the lack of swift action by the city. Do you think the city is pushing people around?
Yes, they are. Yes, they are.
How?
And they're by telling them, I'm going to condemn your home. I'm going to do this, and people don't know any better. They think they have to get out because the people, they're condemning them and they're pushing them out, you know?
The man who lives here says the city is being unjust. Not, he says, because anybody is evil, just because the city doesn't seem to care what happens to him. You think the city's being unfair?
Well, not purposely, but it makes a greater hardship on people when their neighbors' buildings are torn down and you're left in the jungle.
The woman that lives here says she doesn't like living in the approach path of the airport. She says it's not healthy.
You know, us people that are older, we're getting to where we can't keep up the houses. They don't give you no chance to do that. And we have nice homes. We've been lived there and everything. We want them to take us out.
The Community Protective Action Committee says its proposals aren't negotiable. But on the other hand, one of its members says, we haven't heard any alternatives from the city either. Roger Gadley, Cool News 10, South Phoenix.
There came more good news than bad from the Arizona Office of Tourism today. The bad news was not many people are driving on trips to or within the state. The 14% increase in the Consumer Price Index more than devoured the mere 0.6% increase in highway tourism 1979 experienced. Arizona just didn't pick up as much from the on-the-road crowd the past year as it used to, but something else made up for it. And while fuel prices hit the airlines as well, competition seems to have kept airfares low.
Plus you have the problem of increased costs of traveling by car compared to the airlines, so you're getting people switching from driving here to flying.
With the help of air travel, Arizona tourism enjoyed over $4 billion spent here last year. While the increase wasn't as big as the record jump in 1978, it did keep ahead of inflation and provided an estimated 200,000 jobs. Randy Ripplinger, Cool News 10.